Thanks for joining us on this edition of Business Daily. Coming to you live from Seoul, I'm Lee Ji-yoon. Before we get started, let's first take a quick look at what you can expect from us in the latter half of our program. The Internet of Things could be a game changer in the global business market. We take a closer look at how this industry might change our daily lives. Large-scale mergers and acquisitions are on the rise in Korea as the government pushes family-run conglomerates to be more transparent. These stories and more coming right up. Financial institutions in Korea that had been bracing for a further interest rate cut are now stepping away from such projections, at least through the month of June. Last month, the Bank of Korea carried out a surprise interest rate cut down to a record low of 1.75%. And analysts say this comes after the Bank of Korea announced last week that the country's GDP showed a measured on-quarter gain. And as its Governor Lee Ju-yeol indicated that he'd wait for second quarter results to determine whether the economy was indeed on course to a recovery. The value of the Korean won has appreciated steeply against the dollar at a rate much faster than other major currencies. The Bank of Korea said the won strengthened against the dollar by 2.8% since the beginning of this year, at a rate 5 times faster than that of the Japanese yen. Analysts say Japan's weak yen coupled with Korea's robust current account surplus, which is projected to reach $100 billion this year, have contributed to the rapid appreciation of the won, along with foreign investors snatching up shares on the country's stock markets. Samsung Electronics has reclaimed the top spot on the global smartphone market in the first quarter, beating its rival Apple. Market researcher Strategic Analytics says Samsung sold roughly 83 million phones globally, shipping out 22 million more units than Apple. With this, Samsung grabbed over 24% of the global market share. The market researcher says the Korean smartphone maker faced some challenges in Asia and some other regions, but was able to hold its grip steady on overall sales. We're seeing an interesting trend of mergers and acquisitions, or M&As, here in Korea, as the M&A market scale around the world has been growing. Our Lee Ju-young tells us more.
SK Group, the nation's third largest conglomerate, announced last week that it would merge 2 units of its business, SK Holdings, its holding company, and SK CNC, an IT service unit. The merger, scheduled to be completed by August 1st, will form a bigger holding company with combined assets of $12.2 billion. Such large-scale mergers and acquisitions have been on the rise in this country. According to the Korea Capital Market Institute, the domestic M&A transaction value stood at roughly $80 billion last year. That's almost double from 2013. What's interesting, though, is that the number of mergers actually went down from 482 in 2013 to 468 in 2014, meaning larger deals took place, a trend that will continue on this year.
Due to restructuring that conglomerates have been carrying out over the years, there are some good companies out on the market. When there is such restructuring ongoing, and if prospects for the economy pick up, I think we'll see this market becoming more active.
This also comes as the Korean government pushes for family-run conglomerates to simplify ownership structures and boost transparency. Korea's biggest conglomerate, Samsung Group, struck a deal to sell 4 of its affiliates to Hanwha Group for around $1.8 billion in November last year. Hyundai Steel, owned by Hyundai Motor Group, will also complete a deal to take over sister company Hyundai Haisco by July 1st this year. With construction company Kumho Industrial and state-run Uri Bank out on the market, analysts predict the M&A market this year will be just as heated. Lee Ju-young, Business Daily.
The Internet of Things, the potential behind tools enabled by an online network connection, is set to be limitless. And that's why it's being called the growth engine of the future. Here's Eunice Kim with more.
A couple tries to pass an unobstructed path with just one entry card and triggers an alarm. That's because a security camera detects them both in 3D and automatically tips off the control center. Network-connected objects communicating with each other, just one example of the Internet of Things in motion.
With the advancement of sensors, smartphones, and big data technology, we're seeing an emergence of business opportunities that were never there before.
A study by U.S.-based technology firm Gartner found that the sheer number of web-connected smart products on the market would leap tenfold by the year 2020 to 26 billion. The market's value was projected to grow in parallel to an expanse of $1.9 trillion US dollars, roughly the size of India's economy. This is the reason why companies around the world, including those right here in Korea, are gearing up to tap into this still evolving trail that experts say will not only lead to a new growth engine, but also change the way we live. Eunice Kim, Business Daily.
We might be seeing smart objects hitting the shelves on a broader scale in the near future as the Internet of Things market is expected to become a game changer in the global business market. And to tell us more about this ever-growing industry and what can Korea do to become frontrunner in the Internet of Things market, we're now joined by Professor Lee Byung-tae from KAIST College of Business. Welcome to the program, Professor.
Great to be here.
All right, so for many of us, it still sounds a bit odd that objects can communicate with one another. What are some underlying ideas behind it and what makes it so attractive?
Yeah, for the last few decades, we are connecting computers to connect the people. Mm-hmm. So through my computer, I send the email to you, right? Mm-hmm. So it's basically connecting people, right? Okay. But on this planet, we have so many objects which are not humans, right? So basically, what if we connecting them directly without the middleman or the human beings? There's a good example. I'm wearing the watch, smartwatch.
Okay, that's
so
a smartwatch.
This smartwatch is communicating with my smartphone all the time, actually.
Okay.
By that, this smartwatch tells to my smartphone how I slept last night, how much, how far I walked, where I have moved, and so on. So that's the basic idea. So let's connect to non-human object.
Well, you mentioned briefly about your smartwatch, but what are some of the initial developments in the field of Internet of Things? Any other devices that are already out in the market?
Also, there are many interesting commercial applications already. We just, not we, my wife just bought a new refrigerator. Okay. I saw the small button on the top of the refrigerator. So I asked to the delivery man what it is. And he said, well, nowadays, if your refrigerator breaks down, you call to AS center, right? Then all I can say is my refrigerator doesn't work. Okay. But with that small button, if you push that button, this refrigerator sends information to the AS center. The AS man already know what part went wrong. Okay. So that saves their time. Until today, they come and test, and if some part is wrong, then they have to go back to get the part. But it saved the trips.
Right. So they know ahead of time what's wrong with the refrigerator when it breaks down.
Right. So those are the practical applications of Internet of Things.
Well, but then this added interconnectivity, we always have concerns about privacy and security. And how should we address these privacy concerns for our users?
The most promising area of this Internet of Things applications are either finance or medical things. But those finance information and medical information are considered the most sensitive ones, right? And because of this super connectivity, we'll have a wide range of information with much finer resolutions. So that privacy and security are always concerned. And then and then it's very delicate choice or trade-off between this new value and increased risk of being watched.
Right.
Yeah.
Shifting our gears a bit, the Korean government actually plans to provide $70 million to foster the Internet of Things industry because they do find much growth potential in this market. Where does Korea stand in the global market of Internet of Things?
Korea is known as the IT superpower for many years, but unfortunately, in terms of Internet of Things, we are not that advanced. According to the recent report by Accenture, Korea was ranked as I think 12th out of 20 countries.
Okay.
So it's pretty much
bottom
the bottom half. The main reason for this is because of the regulations. Many promising applications are either medical area or financial area, mostly in service areas. But those service areas are really heavily regulated in Korea. That really prevents disruptive innovations. That's why we are kind of a laggard in this movement. However, tech giant like Samsung Electronics or LG Electronics, and also most of the mobile service companies, the telco companies, see this is a growth area. So they are heavily investing, not for the domestic market, but for the global market. But to promote this area of innovation, I think domestically we have to deregulate many of those excessive regulations in service areas.
All right, Professor. Hopefully we'll be able to use all that money into more effective ways to expand our Internet of Things market. Thank you for coming in today, Professor.
Thank you very much for having me here.
All right. All right, that does it for now, but we'll be back tomorrow at the same time, same place. Until then, bye-bye.